And in this video, I'll be giving you some information on building a persona. So I've taken videos before this on what is a persona and why you need to build a persona. So if you haven't got to see that video, you can click on the link that I've provided in the description box. And without any further delay, let's get into this. So just to give you a heads up on what is a persona is an imaginary character who is considered as an intended user of the application you are going to build. Okay, so the persona is imaginary, totally imaginary, and is not a real character. But you're considering that persona to be someone who's going to interact and use with the application you are creating. Okay, so to build a persona, first is you need to, in at the very beginning, you need to first understand what problem you are solving. Okay, and when you understand the problem that you need to solve, the first step that you need to do is to gather data or collect existing data which is relevant to the problem that is being solved. Okay, so now you can either gather data which is, you know, a whole lot of fresh data, or if you have existing data, you can make use of that. But there, you can gather data through these different ways, through surveys, interviews. You can do market research, you can do inquiries with users and customers, and also you might have existing data about people from different sources and different sites. So taking into account all this data and then cataloging this data, bringing it together, is the very first step that you can do before building a persona. The second step is to organize the data. So now once you have the data, organize it into different segments, and these are some of the segments into which you can organize the data. So you can find out what are the different demographic information that's coming out from the data, the ethnographic information, the different activities of peoples that's coming out from the data, their goals, pains, frustrations, blockers, motivations of people, the gains that they are expecting out. So all these are different things that you can consider and segment out the data that you have in hand. Okay, and once you have all this data organized and well segmented, the third part is to segregate the data. Now every point could be different. Okay, not every activity might be the same. For example, let us take the problem of trying to solve a particular situation where people want food to be delivered to their doorstep. Okay, which is something like a food delivery application. So if I was to collect all this data, I would understand that there are different activities of users, there are different pains of users, there are different frustrations of users, motivations, goals, etc. But when you try to understand the similarities of them, you can then categorize these activities, the goals, the pains, frustrations, blockers, the knowledge, motivations. You can categorize them based on similarity. So, for example, when I did a survey and when I did some research and collected data, I came to understand that there are some users who have activities such as traveling to the store, purchasing items, they need to cook food, travel to a hotel, purchase food, and they have certain pains which is no time to cook, cannot travel, and they have some frustrations which is no food available when they are hungry, need to, break their routine to get the food, and they have different other, motivations and knowledge. But if you see, the crux of these set of users is that the main goal is to get prepared food anytime and from anywhere. Okay, so these set of goals and activities of users seem to be a little different from another group of users, which is another category of users, which is their activities are working and studying, but they kind of, their goal is to get some, earn some extra money, get a job. But the pain that they have is like, finding a part-time job, and that part-time job is not, having any flexible hours. Their motivation is, finding a job that has flexible hours, and then their knowledge can be, they can use a mobile app and they can ride a bike. So when you understand the different similarities of data, you tend to segregate them out, and that's where you start forming a persona. So this is not the exact stage, but you're in the stage of, kind of understanding what are the different characters that you might have, who would be, using the system that you are developing. And with this set of information, the very fourth step that you need to do is you need to generalize and build your persona. So now when you build a persona, you need to take these, you cannot build a persona with representing every single person. You need to build a persona that represents a whole category, a whole segment of users. So imagine if I was going to build a persona for a customer and another persona for a delivery agent. So this persona needs to represent all the other customers, all the other pains of the customers, all the other frustrations of the customers, all the gains of customers, the knowledge, the motivations, all those different customer perspectives need to be brought into one single persona. So this one single persona that you're going to build needs to represent this whole lot of background of perspectives. Okay, and that's how you come up with a persona. And this persona, how it's going to look, this is how it's going to look. It's going to be like a simple profile. You might find that it's looking similar to your resume, but it's kind of similar. But the reason why we have so many informations about a persona, we have the persona's name, we give in a dummy location where the persona lives, an age, and then we give a general biodata about the persona so that people get to know a little bit more about the persona. For example, over here, if this persona is going to represent the customer of a delivery app, so the customer is over here is Mark. Mark is a bachelor, works late hours, he lives in London and loves to meet up with his friends on the weekends. He is a foodie and loves to trying out new dishes, and also he loves exploring new restaurants. So that's a little biodata about Mark. And then to Mark is going to represent all the other people's pains, frustrations, etc. So that's where we bring in pains. So Mark says that there's no time to cook food, no vehicle to travel, frustrations. You have the frustrations over there, then you have the goals, and then you have Mark's motivations, and then you have the knowledge of what Mark has, which is Mark knows how to use a mobile and also a mobile application. So this very profile tends to represent all the other people's pains and frustrations and goals in one profile. And why do we build this persona? So this is going to give the developers and your development team an idea of who is the person is going to use this application, and what is the background of that person, what are the pains of the person, what is the gains that this person is expecting to come out of the application they are trying to develop. So this gives life to the people and the characters to which they are intended to use the application that you are developing. So that's a very main advantage of defining a persona. So it's not just defining, okay, customer is a person, but who's that customer, what are the pains of the customer, what is the gains that they're expecting, what are their frustrations. Only then you can build a real product that solves your intended users problems and you would delight them. And that's how a persona can help you out. But there are other different things that a persona is also useful for. And for this video, that's it I have for you. So I hope that this was informative to you. If you like this video, please do give this a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to this channel and do share your feedbacks. Thank you.